Oregon. Oregon is the opposite side of the country as Vermont, but Vermont has a governor's race as well. Tina Kotek is probably going to be the governor of Oregon. So here is the future governor of Oregon.
But I've been called a few things over the years.
Food bank and children's advocate.
State representative.
Budget whiz.
Ally.
Madam Speaker. First lesbian in the country to get that one.
Tina is determined. Tina Kotek, she's real tough.
And then there were some other words for tough that women get called. And those were the days that I really knew we were getting things done. We made record investments in education and affordable housing.
Passed paid sick leave. Expanded background checks.
Raised the minimum wage.
And protected reproductive health care here, no matter what happens at the Supreme Court. But it is not nearly enough, especially as the pandemic and historic wildfires have changed our lives. It's one thing to talk about our problems. It's another thing to make the tough calls to actually get things done. And that's why I'm running for governor. We all deserve good schools, an affordable place to live, and clean air and water for our children and their children too. Join us, and we'll do the tough stuff together.
All right, Tina Kotek. Tina for Oregon, Tina Kotek. The 2022 Oregon Gubernatorial Election brought to you by viewers like you. No, February 18th, 2015, the incumbent Democratic Governor Kate Brown took office in 2015 upon the resignation of John Kitzhaber. The resignation of John Kitzhaber. So John Kitzhaber resigned 2015. She's done her 2 terms. Now it's a wide open race. Now it's just like Bahia. Anybody could win. If goddamn D'Amico could win, if Giovanni D'Amico could become the governor, if that communist could become the governor of Bahia in Brazil, then why can't a wide-haired lesbian win the governorship of Oregon? Why not? Huh? I ask you, sort by most popular. Let's get the most popular video. Food bank. It's got over 500,000 views. 31 seconds. Tina Kotek, everybody. This is your new Fuhrer. This is the new dictator of America. Everybody, this is...
People struggle for all kinds of reasons, including mental health issues and addiction. That's why my plan increases access to local treatment programs and puts new outreach workers on the ground, tent by tent, to help people get off the streets. So they're safe, so we're all safe. Paid for by friends of Tina Kotek, PAC ID 479.
So that wasn't, it doesn't seem like that was the most exciting one. It just doesn't seem, Tina Kotek, let's talk about some of the viewpoints that Tina Kotek and Christine Drazan and Betsy Johnson and R. Leon Noble. I know nothing about R. Leon Noble. Who the hell are you, R. Leon Noble? Where the hell are you, R. Leon Noble? Betsy Johnson is the independent. Christine Drazan is the Republican. Tina Kotek is the Democrat. Now, Oregon has to deal with this court ruling where homeless cities, anytime you move a homeless tent city, you move some homeless person in a tent off the sidewalk or out of the park, you got to have a place to send them. You got to have a destination. You're just going to send them, into the sewers, into the ditch? No fucking shit, right? Just get the hell out of here because I'm going to hit you and arrest you and take your stuff and be a bunch of fucking terrorists? A bunch of thieving-ass terrorists? That is not, you're not good people. You're bad people. So Oregon has to deal with that. When they asked about homelessness, it seems like they all have to basically deal with fucking homelessness. They have to fucking figure this thing out. Why? Because if you go to Oregon and you have a homeless tent, and they say you got to get on down the road, well, where at? Where down the road did you want me to go? Oh, go to the homeless shelter. Go to the transitional housing place. Go to the, go to your new apartment. Go to your brand new cheap housing that has been constructed for you. You have 36,000 new houses. Tina Kotek is calling for 36,000 new houses every year. She's saying in Oregon, and then she loves the idea. Tina Kotek loves the idea of using Oregon's mass timber to build Oregon homes. So they need 36,000 new homes. If it's not just, I love the idea, it just seems like it's common sense. Where are we going to get all the timber to build new housing for our people and our citizens? Holy shit, there's timber all over the place. Timber Industries, that's going to be a perfect corporation and government marriage made in heaven, is it not? Tina Kotek is in agreement with the Private Forest Accord. What the hell is the Private Forest Accord? Don't ask me. Something about the timber and the timber industry and the conservation groups got together. So the timber can take the timber, but you got to, respect nature, right? So that's the private forest accord. Betsy Johnson gets all clever saying, well, we need, industry for not just silicone chips, but wood chips and potato chips too. So she's for all kinds of chips. All kinds of chips. Let the chips fall where they may. When they're a Chips movie, when a Chippendale, Chippendale. Silicone chips, wood chips, potato chips. Betsy Johnson. Betsy Johnson doesn't look like a governor. She looks real dumpy Oregonian. She's a firecracker. Since she's the independent, she actually gets to speak her mind, but she hates Oregon's EPA. There's just nothing exciting about her. I just don't understand what we're supposed to get excited about here. We got Tina Kotek. We got a lesbian with white hair, right? I mean, what more excitement? Christine Drazan, she gets some things right too. So Betsy Johnson, I don't know. This independent has a strong Republican and Democrat that she has to run up against. And then who the hell is this R. Leon Noble? I don't know. Bobby Fischer? Is that what this R. Leon Noble's hanging out with Bobby Fischer and Elvis Presley and Tupac, Qatari and, was it Chile? Cuba, Botswana? Christine Drazan. You want to talk about some Christine Drazan now? Let's get Christine Drazan up on the phone. Let's get a video of Christine Drazan. This is the Republican who is running. Sprinting. Running. To become the governor of Oregon. Like I said, Tina Kotek. This is Tina Kotek's to lose. She's already like a popular state rep or some shit, or the speaker of the thing or some shit. And she's got white hair. I don't know if I mentioned it. And she's a lesbian. Lesbian, white hair. She's going to be the president.
Why do you think residents are so unhappy with Oregon? They are voting to move to Idaho. And how can you address those concerns?
Is that Christine?
Well, let me start by
No,
saying
that's Betsy Johnson.
Counties actually vote, and a total of 13 are looking to abandon our beloved Oregon. That is a clarion call for government to do something about it. The governor, I think, has been somewhat sanguine about the fact that those counties want to leave. I believe that the difference between urban Portland and the rest of the state is not just based on geography. People that feel disrespected, disenfranchised, not part of the system are really pissed off. They are angry. And that's one of the reasons for my candidacy for governor. I want to give voice to those people who have felt disrespected and shut out, and that Salem has told them what to do and how to run their lives.
Goddamn Salem.
I am a governor, or will be a governor, that knows that there is Oregon east of Bend and that there is Oregon south of Eugene. And having visited those communities, I can tell
East
you
of
how
Bend and south of Eugene.
they are. I think that the governor needs to be cautious about urban solutions being dictated to rural Oregon, and that we need to pay serious attention. The governor needs to know what are the economies of those regions, whether you're making potato chips, wood chips, silicon chips, Fisher chips. The governor needs to be involved in economic development and make sure that those regional differences are recognized and they're brought along fully in decision making, and that they're brought along fully in economic opportunity. Imagine a governor who would not sign a bill or sign legislation or make appointments to boards and commissions without bipartisan support. That's the governor I'm going to be as a non-affiliated governor.
Thank you. Representative
It all sounds good.
We have for far too long had.
There she is.
in Oregon.
That's the Republican.
My colleagues.
No matter what, Oregon is going to get a female governor.
Democrats in control of Salem for 15 to 20 years. And we did not get here overnight. This rural-urban divide that we're experiencing is one that took time to develop. The people who are living in
The rural-urban divide is, it's kind of bullshit, because to be a city rat, well, you're not building on it. You need land and you need a house, okay? And if you don't own that condo, if you don't own that apartment, complex, that unit, then you're just pissing your money away in rent. You're not building any equity. So it's good. Home ownership, land ownership, home ownership is good for the economy. It's good. That's how Germany is kicking ass and taking names. Why? Home ownership, land ownership. You get people in homes. They got something to lose. They got a safe place to put their stuff. It helps with their prestige. Now, I didn't have many notes for Betsy Johnson. That's why I let her speak. more than Christine Drazan. We'll get back to her, but let's talk about who Christine Drazan is. Now, Christine Drazan, she says that she's not going to eat it on high. I'm not going to eat it on high, which makes me think that she will eat it on high. She's going to have non-stop executive orders. Get in and just, I say so. I'm the governor, so executive order after executive order. Christine Drazan, she also says that she's going to jump in with both feet. Why not just kind of put your toe in first to see what jump in with both feet? It's all right to, take off running, start running, but jumping in with both feet, I don't know. That's just, what if it's ice? Didn't you see that one guy jump and it was just all ice and he almost fucking broke his fucking back? Fucking fuck. So she also talked about long-term solutions, coming up with real long-term solutions. And we don't need fake long-term solutions or fictional or bullshit we do need real, honest to God, long-term solutions. Have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan. I want to know each one of these 50-year and 100-year plan. What is your 100-year plan? When you're governor for 4 years, that's fine. You're only going to be there for 4 years at least. But you have an overall framework of where you're going to see Oregon go in 100 years. Everybody is in agreement. Tina Kotek, Betsy Johnson, and Christine Drazan is in agreement that food and farmers are important. So nobody is disparaging the rural-urban divide. There's people in urban areas, but like I said, there's no comparison. There's no debate. There's no argument. The people are in cities, unless they own their property. They're having to rent, but the reason they went to cities was the Industrial Revolution. You needed a pile of workers to work the factories and work the industries. And now you just got a pile of people just living on top of one of each other like sardines. You do have to be a city rat to really live in a lot of these cities. There's a lot of stuff going on in cities. That's what cities got going for them. There's a lot going on in cities. So if you're ready to, I guess kick ass and take names, if you're ready to, hello Hollywood, I've arrived. If you're ready to, hello, my baby. Hello, my ragtime gal. Pop a cork. Throw some confetti. Have a little party. Climatologists are talking about Oregon are going to get less water in the future. Let's listen to some Christine Drazan. And we'll talk about what they think about the water in Oregon in a second.
Go to Idaho. Their concerns and their issues are real. They deserve respect. They deserve local control. They cannot continue to live under an oppressive, frankly condescending expectation that if it works in Portland or if it works on the I-5 corridor, that they must live underneath those rules. It goes from a response to climate, it goes to a response to our economic activity, as well as labor, and I could go on and on, housing, you name it. That part of the state is not respected enough to have their voices heard. They'll drive 6 hours, each way to get all the way to Salem to make 3-minute comments, to be patted on the head, have nothing change in that legislation, and drive home.
6-hour drive for a working class person, that's some bullshit. Now you gotta hear me, and you gotta do something, and you gotta move the fucking marker, move the ball. Just get up there and speak. Good. They spoke. Are you satisfied? No, I want to be heard and respected, and we got fucking troubles and issues and shit. This didn't help my fucking family situation whatsoever. So Christine Drazan, I'm glad that Christine Drazan cares about the people in the rural communities, but frankly, I think that if you have a homestead, you got land in a homestead, you're doing better than most people in the cities. So care about the rural, care about everybody, care about the urbanites, but the urbanites, I think we need to do homesteading and we need to do agriculture. Get back to agriculture. The idea that Tina Kotek just is tickled at the idea of using timber to build houses. How come we haven't used this? They have mass timber, right? A massive timber industry in Oregon. So why don't you just, if you want to do business in Oregon, you got to build 10 houses. And so there, bam, right off the top, you got 10 houses from the timber industry. So the timber industry of Oregon is building houses for the Oregonian people. It is a common sense idea. Punishment fits the crime kind of idea. Now, water is a natural human right, but Oregon is just like Colorado in the sense that they say prior appropriation. So if you've been there before, the water goes to the person who's been there the longest. So, that's good for the conquistadors, right? But it's also great for the Native Americans who can do their, genealogy all the way back. So if the Native Americans can get above the conquistadors, but it's a lot of the old Spaniards, and it's prior appropriation. Tina Kotek pointed out one big problem with it, that if, you have water rights, right, with prior appropriation, but if you don't use the water for 5 years straight, then you use that water rights. So she doesn't like that. I mean, it makes sense, though, in some sense, but what they're doing is basically you're forced to use water that you may not need. And so that's not, that doesn't make much sense. So Tina Kotek is concerned about the rule that if the water rights holder doesn't use water within 5 years, or 5 years straight, then they lose their water rights. I think there's a logic to it. I think she might be Christine Drazan. She says she's okay with the water system. She's okay with prior appropriation. Keep the whole water system just as it is. But she does talk about being responsive to the needs of the locals. So I think she's acknowledging that the prior appropriation is good for the old time, ranchers and cattle and old people that have been doing the farming and stuff. But we need to love our people and our humans first. So it's okay to use water for your crops, use water for your animals, but for anybody who wants to farm and everybody who wants to have water, water is a human right, a natural human right, which means it's constitutional. It's a legal constitutional right, since it's clearly, if without water you die. Without water you die. And then Christine Drazan is 100% correct when it comes to water storage projects. She's 100% supportive of water storage projects. 100%. And no fucking shit, Sherlock. These rat bastard motherfuckers that seem to think, well, I get water, but you don't. Fuck that piece of shit. I don't see any Christians in the San Luis Valley. I get to use the water, but you don't. That's what I've heard over and over again. Over and over again. I get to use the water. My dog gets to use the water. My cow gets to shit in the water and make sure it sullies it for everybody else. But other families, other working class families, they get no water. So when it comes to storing water, can we collect the rainwater? Can I at least open my mouth up and collect water? There was a Republican that was like, he didn't even know why he wanted to stop people from taking the water from the clouds. But he knew that there was a reason. I'm sure some corporation come up with, a government or something come up with some reason, and he just supports it. That's in Monte Vista. The county was Del Norte. Monte Vista, the county, Rio Grande. Is that the Rio Grande County? So Christine Drazan is 100% right. She's supportive of water storage projects, whereas I don't think anybody else. Tina Kotek just said something about that rule. If you don't use your water rights in 5 years, you lose that right. Kind of, my God. It seems like there should be some water reform. Christine Drazan, water storage is essential for moving forward. She's 100% correct to that. Kotek wants to monitor water resource or more water use. They're all in favor of food and farmers. They're all in favor of good health, healthy habits of forestry, such as logging, grazing, thinning, and burning. But Tina Kotek says she has no position actually on logging and grazing. And I guess that's because they're corporations. Tina Kotek doesn't talk about water storage, so the fact that you don't realize that some people have to collect rainwater in order to live, to feed their dogs, to feed their, to water their, plants and animals, but to make sure working class families need that rainwater. And if you're going to try to take the rainwater away from them, that's pretty fucked up. That's super fucked up. I can't imagine anything more fucking wicked, to be honest with you. Tina Kotek says no to open ditches, but yes to piping. So she don't like the open ditches, but she likes piping. Let's get some piping in the ground. And actually, that's fucking brilliant. I think piping is better too. But, when Tina Kotek is talking about monitoring the water use more, for like big corporations and big industries, it makes sense. But for private, it's almost like I got water from God. It came onto my roof of my shed, and then it came into a bucket. I have to collect, goddamn a gallon at a time. Every time it sprinkles, I just collect a gallon, and that's been able to provide. But if you don't realize that people need water to live, water to survive, and being, water storage. In Colorado, you're allowed to collect 100 gallons per rain. Every rainstorm that comes in, you can collect 100 gallons. And that sounds fucking reasonable. But you know what? Even if, I don't even understand, if you think about water and if you think about a dam, let's assume you have a hillside and the person on top of the hill, they're going to try to collect all the water. But let's say they have a big pond and they, collect as much water as they can in that pond. And then the pond is filled. And then what happens? And then it flows on down. So everybody else gets the same rain on top of their head everywhere else. So you only get so much rain. And then once it, fills up, that it basically, once you fill up the pond, once you fill up the container, then it overflows and then it goes on down the line. And so for the people that are freaking out, I don't think you understand how much water there is out in this world. And it's like people are just so fucking corporate or government. They just don't want working families to have they don't want them to, working families have to stand a chance. So whatever the water policy is in Oregon, it has to be tailor-made for the benefit of working class families, for the regular working guy, for the regular folks, for the little man and woman and family. So Kotek is in agreement with the Private Forest Accord. Kotek wants to monitor water use some more. She doesn't like open ditches. She's in favor of piping. They're all in favor of food and farmers. They all talk about how the good health of a forest uses logging, grazing, thinning, and burning. Industries want to do those things all the time. But every once in a while, having controlled burns, she called it something else. They call it controlled burns here in Colorado. Controlled burns versus a prescribed burn. That's what Tina Kotek was talking about, a prescribed burn. And a prescribed burn sounds different than controlled. Prescribed is like the government gives you permission. Whereas if there's a bunch of deadwood all over the place, there's a Rio Grande National Forest out here. I wish people were coming out here and camping and having a good old time and getting all this deadwood. There's a lot of deadwood that's all over the place. Pick it up. Get it out of here. So, and then people need to be warm and this and that. So, there's, I think it is good for the health of a forest. It's good for the health of a forest to pick all that crap up and to, keep it clean. Not too clean. You want to have a little bit of, growth but yeah. But yeah. Let's listen to some Christine Drazan. Go ahead, Christine. Give you the last word.
Thank you for the question, Andrew. We definitely have to.
Wait, that's not Christine.
The entire country.
That's Tina Kotek.
Spots of our state where people feel left behind and not listened to. And it's very important for the next governor to be a listener who spends a lot of time outside of Salem. I had the great pleasure when I worked at Oregon Food Bank and Children First for Oregon, traveling the state and listening to folks in their communities about their issues. In fact, I worked on a study that said the types of policies that come out of the state from Salem don't always help rural Oregonians. For example, asking them to go, do certain things. That part of our state.
Each of you 30 seconds.
I'd just like to point out that on Tina's website today is something that is exacerbating, not website, but social media, exacerbating the urban-rural divide. She is suggesting that because someone was at one of my rallies with a Confederate flag, that rural Oregonians are racist and that you have to be racist to support my campaign. That is anything but the truth. That exacerbates the divide. I condemn racism, discrimination, and bigotry in any form. And somehow to imply that racists are attending my event just drives home the point that urban Oregon doesn't understand rural Oregon.
Okay.
No, that's such fucking bullshit. You can kiss my ass. Fucking Confederate flag waving motherfucker. You needed to point that out and say some shit about that shit right away. You saw a Confederate waving flag motherfucker and you didn't say, hey, fuck your racist ways. Oregon? Was Oregon part of the Confederacy? Let's look at the Civil War, okay? Let's look at the Civil War divide, South v. North map, okay? And then let's type in Oregon during the Civil War. Maybe there's a Wikipedia page about it. So, Civil War, North-South map, let's see here. Oregon. Oh, Oregon is here, but it's part of the North. Wow. So, the state of Oregon just got formed, 1850s or something? And then they picked the right side. You're all the way on the Pacific Ocean. You're not around all this slave fucking bullshit, racist bullshit. Why the fuck California Oregon, we're all part of the North. We're all for America, right? We're all for Abraham Lincoln, the presidency, the United States of America. We're for the revolution. We're for the Bill of Rights, the three branches of government. I mean, isn't that dedicated the proposition, one man created equal? Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. These are all people that was part of the United States. Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, West Virginia, Kentucky. Missouri's a slave state, but it's border state. Maryland, border state, right? But who are the piece of shit states? Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. Look at the fucking Tennessee and Mississippi and Alabama. That's shit today. You don't think it has something to do with them being the old Confederate fucking racists? You got Florida man, Georgia, fucking Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. That's your old fucking slave South. So Oregon, I'm impressed that you had Washington Territory, Dakota Territory, Nebraska, Utah, Nevada, Colorado, New Mexican Territory. So Oregon and California got their shit together. When did Oregon become, Oregon statehood? Let's take a look at Oregon during the Civil War. They raised the first Oregon Cavalry, activated in 1862. It makes no sense. It's like go to New York City or Maine or Ohio and you see Confederate flags. You weren't even part, with Kentucky, it was brother versus brother. You're telling me that you had a bunch of pioneers, came all the way out to Oregon. They know what it's like to be, for it to be tough and for it to be hard. And they're going to have they're going to be oppressors. They're going to come all the way out here to just oppress the local brown and black folks to do their work for them. No, I see pioneers going out to Oregon and the Oregon Trail to raise their own crops, to get their own piece of ground and their own housing so they could become self-actualized. Regular U.S. Army troops in the District of Oregon were withdrawn from posts in Oregon and Washington Territory and sent east. Oh, shit. So in 1861, they actually took troops from Oregon. Infantry were recruited in California, sent north to Oregon to replace the federal troops so they can keep the peace and protect the populace. Oregon also raised the first Oregon Cavalry, activated in 1862, served until June 1865. Oregon's second United States Senator, Colonel Edward Dickinson Baker, was killed while leading Union troops at the Battle of Ball's Bluff near Leesburg, Virginia, October 21st, 1861. So the people of Oregon, men died. Oregonian men died for America, for the United States of America, to end slavery. One of the greatest legacies ever. Good for Oregon that you picked the right side. Fucking shit. Well, we have 50 wars in America. 47 of them are terrible. We got 3 good holy wars. The Revolution, World War II, and the Civil War. If you think any of those wars, the other side was good, you're the most wicked pilot. You're not an American. You're a dumbass piece of shit and you're not an American. You think the Confederacy was good? You want to defend 10,000 slave-owning piles of shit? You know what I love about the Civil War? It'd been fun to fight against them Confederate fucks because you'd walk into Georgia with a bunch of guns and you go on the plantation and you give the black folks a bunch of guns and you say, let's get the fuck out of here. You just liberated an entire group of people. You knew your cause was just. You knew your cause was right. Not only are you fighting for the black man, you're fighting for the white man, you're fighting for the Union, you're fighting for the United States of America. You're fighting for something great, not just good, you're fighting for greatness. So her going on and on about that Confederate, woo, it got me, that does divide the rule. No, fuck you. Fuck you Confederate sons of bitches. Why don't you raise the rainbow flag? Why don't you raise the Bolivian flag? Raise the American flag? How about the Oregonian flag? Why don't you raise your state flag? There's lots of good flags that you could raise. The fucking Confederate flag, you fucking racist piles of shit. There's racists in fucking Oregon. Like, no shit. That's why, you know what? The excesses of Antifa in Portland, I excuse because the rest of America is so right-wing, fascist, neo-Nazi, white supremacist, KKK, Confederate, it's not even fucking funny. And they're criminals. So fuck you racists. Big shocker. Evil fucking racists are also criminal motherfuckers. They have hatred in their heart. And they want to hurt other people. The sadism.
I'm glad Senator Johnson reads our press releases. I'm not saying that people that attend your rallies are racist. I'm saying that when images like the Confederate flag are in public spaces, it keeps some and many Oregonians from wanting to feel included in that conversation. And I'm glad to hear that you would say that well, we'll talk about it later. But the issue there is making sure